Hi, my name is Michaela DeCaro, and these are my mock interview questions for the 3D environment artist position for the film industry. Going forward, the first question I chose is what qualities and skills should a 3D environment artist should have? One of the first qualities I would say is that you need to have the motivation and drive to take your passion into a career. Doing so, this is a very competitive career field, so you must be able to want to put your best step forward to get that permanent spot in the career field. I know many people who are still working towards that permanent spot now, who are great inspirations of mine as well. Still trying to secure their spot today. Another one would be with the qualities is to be able to have teamwork, be able to work with a team, be very open-minded, be very flexible about their artwork. As this industry, the film industry for animation is very large, you're always going to be working in a group. So you must be able to work with many other people and different types of employees. Another would be is to have a strong sense of organization and a mastery of time management, because you're going to be meeting many deadlines. There's no times where you're ever going to have a deadline pushed off. If so, you're very lucky. To meet these deadlines, if a deadline is missed, you will lose your chance at this job. Next would be the strong sense of details towards your projects. Being so as a 3D modeler and creating those environments, note that you are working in high resolutions for film, so what the audience sees, you can clearly see as well. So you want to be detailed as possible for your 3D models and environments. Going next into the next question is describe your creative process. What are major steps in the project for a 3D modeler? My process is the same as any other 3D modeler productions. Starting off would be pre-production, so you would be creating the blockouts, the layouts, the designs, concept art, color palettes, measurements, other stuff like that to get your project started and get the groundwork basically started. You want to be able to have your color decided, you want to have your measurements decided, what the story is going to be, how many blockouts you're going to have, how many scenes, how many props going forward. After that the next step would be basically creating the basic geometrics of those props and scenes. Starting off, I would start creating the backgrounds, how big it's going to be, and then start measuring from there of how big your props are going to be, how big these characters are going to be, other stuff like that. And then afterward, once you get those basics down, you'll get into the nitty-gritty detail of the project itself, being what the details of the project and the props are going to look like, the environment details, what you can put your more focus on and what you can put less focus on to meet those deadlines. So you know where to stop and where to go, because meeting the deadlines is an absolute. So you need to know when enough is enough in a situation. Next would be the texturing and UV mapping. Using Maya, Blender, Unity, you would need to use like programs that can work alongside with those, being ZBrush, Substance Painter, or Adobe Photoshop to create those textures and UV maps. Then next would be, if you're working with a team, you would push it off to the rigging and animators in those departments. If I was working on a project by myself in that situation, any FX effects I would create would go into Houdini and just create those kind of basics, and then all the rest of it would be rendered out with the Arnold and Realman renders, and creating the lighting as well through there, and you can even change the lighting through Houdini and other stuff like that as well. The next question would be into how would you incorporate feedback into your designs, and what you would have received, and what time have you received criticism for your work, and how did you approach those changes? As I would say, feedback is an absolute must needed in this industry. You're always going to be receiving feedback. You should always be asking for feedback. There's never a point where you should not be asking for feedback unless you are working as an individual project. But going so forward, if we are working in a group here, you must always be asking for feedback. As you are working for a team, and if you are in film, you are working underneath a producer and director who are you creating the envisions for. Art is very subjective in its culture and very opinionated, so you must learn as a 3D modeler to take it professionally and to learn that criticism is not a personal charge against yourself. It is just towards your project and what you can always improve on. And knowing that whether it's a job or a passion is an absolute must, and working together with that team, or even that team lead, to know what the vision is going to enclose of. In the end, your opinions will always matter, but you must know that it must not take in personally. You are here for as a professional aspect for a team to create a film of a vision for a director or producer. In the end, feedback is needed, though. Criticism is needed to be able to improve and help hone your skills as a 3D modeler, and will always be encouraged and should always be encouraged. If you have any other questions, you can message me or reach out to me. Other than that, I greatly appreciate this interview. Thank you so much.